Holy crap, where the hell are we? Where are all these numbers and letters flying by us? Oh my god.
Oh man, this is crazy.
How did we get in here? Are we getting trolled? Google was talking about this, people getting trolled in VR. It's already happened, and I can't believe this.
Oh, yeah,
my god.
Well, also in VR, there's also this like new retro arcade thing that's freaking crazy. Oh man.
Yeah, well, wait till No Man's Skies goes VR. I can go exploring planets just like I was on Star Trek or something.
Oh wow.
Call myself Captain Kirk if you want.
That'd be crazy, man.
Oh man, this week on Get Tekt, you better tune in. Hopefully we can get our way out of this. Oh my god, I don't even know how I'm getting my way out of this. Let me out! And welcome everybody to Get Tekt, the Get Tekt show that brings you the news you want to hear or may not want to hear. We're going to give it to you anyway. So take it. Anyway, we're here with everybody, the whole Get Tekt crew, along with Mr. Tony Camper. So how's Tony Camper doing today?
Fair enough, man.
Welcome back.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. You know, I had a personal thing happen, had to address it for a few weeks, and so I'm back. And I missed you guys.
Oh, I missed you too, man.
I missed you, man.
Missed you too, Papa Bear.
Oh, man.
So, the only person we're missing is the Tech Geek, but he has his own life affairs he had to take care of today, so he's not with us today on the podcast, on the Tech Show, Get Tekt Show. So, next week, he'll be back, everybody. So, let's jump right into the news. So, hackers use fake boarding passes to get into every airline lounge for free. And the reason why I just brought this topic up, it was just neat that, something like this happened. Something like, this is something you'd see on a TV show. This is like so comical.
Yeah.
Don't you still have to pay for stuff in the lounge? what's the point of hacking? To
tell you the truth, the airline lounge has overpriced stuff in it, so the guy was kind of hacking himself.
Yeah,
but
right.
He's a hacker.
So
he's
a big victory
so
there.
it's okay.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, was just to show that they could do it?
Yeah.
Which is disturbing because if they get into the lounge and they're not real boarding passes.
Well, this is like what hackers do. A lot of hackers that are just not really, they're not hacktivists and they're not black hats where they're out to exploit for money. The gray hat type are just the curious type. And this is what these people do.
This boarding pass, could it get them on the airplane?
No.
Wait, so what you're saying is
there's better security for that.
Yeah.
So this was good enough to sneak them into other airline places.
Yeah.
Are you saying that there's some hackers whose life is so boring that stuff like this makes them feel badass?
Well, no, it's not about that. Okay. If anybody, and we know somebody that is helping us out develop the Get Tekt app. He is definitely a puzzle person. I love puzzles. Anything that takes time to solve, I'll sit there and solve it. Like, for instance, like we had an incident like not that long ago involved like program stuff like that when we first started playing Minecraft. Now, the two members, Bazinga and Tech Geek, both said shaders can't be done on modded Minecraft. They kept on saying to me over and over again, I got it f***ing working. So this is a real. Oh, this is the 3D. Yeah, the 3D one. Okay, Nintendo 3. What do you call it? The NES. We talked about this about 5 weeks ago, something like that. I can't remember how long ago. But now it is a downloadable, pretty much emulator that you can plug into. You can plug your ROMs into and play games. Bazinga looked a little more into this. If you'd like to speak about it.
Well, what's really cool about this one is, yeah, like you said, it's they have a bunch of ROMs. You put the ROMs in and it plays it. But a lot of times it's all pixelated and they 3Dify the wrong objects.
Yeah, I remember this thing.
Yeah, but in the actual program that you can download, you can choose what artifacts become 3D and put them forward and make the other things backwards and vice versa to make it look better. It's really, really cool. There was a long video I watched on YouTube about it. But like, just like that Dr. Mario one right there. Like that canister, the jar that the Dr. Mario game is in, you could actually make that go inverted instead of outwards.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Or you could make the pixels coming down it's the other direction. So it's cool.
Yeah, I just love the what do you call it? The Castlevania ones really caught my eye. Only because I love Castlevania, but.
Oh yeah.
So this is us playing Double Dragon, right?
yeah, we can do that.
We're gonna do some Double Dragon.
Oh
right?
yeah, we can do that.
No, there is no could. We gotta do some Double Dragon.
No
there is only do.
There's only do.
So, Google is developing techniques to combat VR trolls. This isn't so much a thing yet, but they're already preparing.
Okay.
What?
So what exactly does it
He's
state?
a VR troll.
Well,
Okay.
see, all right,
this
let me,
green
wait,
little
wait,
thing
wait,
with
wait,
big
wait. Let me
ears.
talk on this one.
Okay.
Right, real quick. In the
That's
minds of
grim,
Google, in the minds of Google, in the minds of like Twitter, in the minds of YouTube and Yahoo and all these places, a troll is anybody who disagrees with someone they like. And before you tell me I'm wrong, I will point out that there are people being banned on Twitter for disagreeing with people's opinions that are highly regarded on Twitter.
Well, no. You got a good point there, but that's a whole nother political discussion.
But they call them trolls, and that's what they plan on doing.
Well, no, these trolls we're talking about are ones that are disrupting like a game. Like say these, like the ones they do example is someone playing poker, and someone just randomly stealing chips or just disrupting the environment around it while you're playing this game of poker.
Okay.
Wait. So I can't steal chips? That would be part of the fun. Would be trying to get away with it, right?
So-
you're playing cards and you're trying to cheat. That would be fun.
So Google, in a sense, made it so that, like, say you have a certain bubble that you have to be in while you have to be playing this game. Once you move out of that bubble, all the other players that are in the VR session cannot see you, and virtually, as far as the programming goes, you're in the same program, but you're not at the same time. So you cannot interact with the players or the surroundings anymore once you move out of that bubble. So it's pretty interesting that they're actually addressing this early on, which is good, because this would have been a mess if people could do shit like that. It would have been a big mess. Just someone you're playing a VR game.
Interrupt you, go in the game and mess with it.
Yeah, like say
Crazy.
say to some random person, like say it's an online poker session, like in VR, and then you have your group of guys that you know are playing, and then just some random guy from online wants to join you, comes in, and he's disrupting, like just like throwing cards around and doing kind of goofy stuff, and it's like, dude, we're trying to play a game. Like, but I think the obvious way to deal with this is just like with any game, you don't have. I don't think it has to go to this kind of extremes personally. I think it just has to have as matters of like whoever hosted the game is allowed a kick button right there at their hands. They can just push a button right next to them in the VR environment and just go boom, they're gone, boom, just gone.
Because you also got to look at it this way too, Nate. It could go further than that. It can start with the simple way of Google trying to prevent trolling all the way. But then, for example, I'll use the World of Warcraft thing. Remember when I told you about how annoying it was where they had PvP servers and non-PvP servers, and people who don't like PvP would join the PvP servers, and then they would bitch and complain until they changed the rules of the PvP server to suit the people who didn't want to be there in the first place. Yeah. So then you take these games where they're trying to stop trolling. What if there's a game where trolling is fun as heck, and there's a side where you could troll in that game, and it fits and the devs are fine with it, but then Google wants to take it out because there's a group of Care Bears who don't like it at all, even though they don't have to partake in that section at all. They can avoid that entire point of the game and play a different way, but because they had it happen to them once because they went into the wrong area, they want it shut off.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So it goes both ways. Like, I'm against the entire idea of like trying to control how the people act in the games, especially when it comes to gameplay mechanics. If you know, like, put profanity filters in and put servers that are for people who don't want that problem, and leave the people who want that stuff in their own section.
Well, no, there will be apps like obviously the gambling
I don't believe
apps.
they will, though. I believe eventually they won't.
No, there'll be gambling apps made by third parties that will have like no rules. Anybody can go in. Yeah, I mean it'll be like a backroom gambling hall.
Well, I'm not just talking about gambling. I just mean in general. Like the whole internet is pushing towards this idea of you don't have a place unless you agree with us, and it's happening with these things. It's happening with a few MMOs I play. It's happening with a lot of different games. It's happening with League. You know, like if you play League and someone's really bad on your team and starts yelling and swearing at everybody, but he reports you for hate speech, even though you did nothing wrong, you get hit right away. 5 people could report the other guy for just playing badly and being a dick.
Yeah.
Fine. If he reports you for hate speech, you immediately get that message, hate speech.
Yeah, I know.
Especially
but
if you've already been reported for it before.
It's a matter on the community, though. If the community doesn't like it as much, people can just opt out of playing it, and the game can go out in revenue and disappear. The alien megastructure continues to baffle people. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what this is, about a little over a year ago, a year and like a week ago, the Kepler telescope detected like this very far off star system that had basically the light was dimming so much they were like, what the heck's going on here? What is that? Now, the way they detect other planets is like, say the light dims for a second in front of the star. They can know, and then they can zoom in and they can see the readout of like what kind of like what do you call it? like heat signature stuff they're getting off that detect if it's a planet or if it's asteroid, whatever it is. Basically this dimmed out so much they were like, whoa, that's not a planet. And then they were like, after it dimmed out like so much to a point, they were like, whoa, this is not any kind of star. There's no star that big. There's nothing that big in the universe. What is this?
A big lamp.
So
Galactic.
and that was the first statement they made.
Is that right?
And then there was speculations of a giant alien structure.
It's
And
a
all these things.
nightlight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
And these things started speculating and spiraling out of control. And it took to the point where some of the scientists coming forward and be like, we never said it was an alien structure. We just said there's a structure out there. We don't know if it's a planet or if it's actually a physical structure or that someone else created.
Did it go
They have no
completely
clue. But
It's Trump's alien wall.
yeah. What happened later on after those things came out, they actually noticed it was dimming even more and more, and it was baffled them before. So they're like, okay. Then they went and analyzed. It was like 300 and something like other star systems. They expanded that to like 900 and something star systems, and they were like, there's not anything even closely that big in any of the other star systems. They're like, they're really baffled now what this structure could be. This is a ginormous whatever it is.
And it dims.
Well, it goes in front of the star that it's around. So that's how they know it's there, because it dims out the other star.
So is it in an orbit?
Yeah.
Could be an asteroid that got pulled into orbit.
Yeah,
and
Well,
started
no,
crashing
they
down.
know it's not an asteroid. They know it's not any kind of body of planet that exists that we have of our knowledge in any kind of galaxy or solar system right now. And it's no kind of star that we know of, or black hole, or like particle, whatever vortex you want to call it.
That
they
we
it's-
know of, though,
They
which is
know
the key
that they've
thing.
never found. So they cannot classify this object yet, which is why all the speculation comes up, because they can't classify it, because they have nothing to go by to classify it from, because it's too big. Which is pretty
But
crazy.
it's got a regular orbit.
Yeah.
That's
No
crazy.
kidding, man.
Well, speaking about going to other star systems and other planets, there's a great game that's already out on the consoles. It's coming out on the PC in 2 days, called No Man's Skies. And so far, I've been watching the streams, and it looks pretty damn fun. You can fly around to different ships, all kinds of different ships. You can go to different planets. You can land on planets. You can get the material you need to get fuel, create fuel for your ship, do repairs on your ship, make stuff for your ship, all kinds of crazy stuff. So far, I'm pretty impressed with this game, and I'm definitely going to be buying it and playing it. What do you guys think about this game?
Well, it seems like it's a survival game. Like,
Yeah.
Not a survival horror, but it's a survival game. You gotta make things and build things to be able to get to the next planet. But that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's the one issue. There's no.
But
I guess there's a story and a goal.
Well, yeah, you learn,
To
like,
get
for
to the
instance,
center of the universe.
I can
like-
tell you a couple of things that are in it that you probably don't know about, Bazinga.
All right.
Did you see the dogfight video?
No.
yeah, I saw
yeah, where they're flying when you're in space and stuff. Yeah. But like,
Well,
there's
he
like
also went down. He also went down to orbit in the video. There was a point where you go down. They were flying over the planet's surface, shooting at each other too. There's also mass air battles with NPC aliens and such.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But my biggest gripe with the game is a lack of multiplayer, and I don't need a full-blown multiplayer, but I was really hoping they would do like a Dark Souls thing where you could you'll be flying around and someone else might get drawn into your instance and end up in a dogfight with you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Stuff like that would have been really interesting. I'm gonna check the game out, but not right away because there's other stuff to buy.
Yeah. Well, another thing that
Maybe
got
when
me
they
was
get an update for that.
the really neat thing that got me was because I love any kind of thing exploration. Like another great game anybody wants to check out, Elite and Dangerous is really cool, but it's not even half as detailed as this game.
But you can fight each other in that, right?
Yeah, in space. But the fact is, though, in this game, you can go to a certain planet and just walk around. You're getting resources. You'll run into like some weird monument and stuff, and then this thing will start talking to you like it's like some ancient computer from a lost civilization, all telling you the story of what happened, and it's kind of crazy. It's like all this lore that's like hidden around the whole universe.
Yeah, but supposedly it does have online, but you'll never find each other.
Yeah,
Well,
they haven't
from
made a
what-
system yet.
From what I've read is that if you do run into each other, you can't see each other, and it's because someone actually ran into each other. They have video of it.
Yeah, I saw a
And
screenshot of it.
They couldn't interact at all, and that kind of got me down a little bit because, like I said,
Then what's the point?
well, the point is exploring your world, building.
Well,
Plus,
yeah,
the
yeah,
point
yeah.
is this game is going to grow, so it's very plausible that by the end of next year they update it with online play.
All right, so they already
And
have
all-
it there. They just don't have it physical.
Yeah.
They don't have online play at all right now,
Yeah.
except for small things. But it's very plausible that it's going to get added because they said that they want to keep adding stuff. And the next update, they're doing an update soon where they add some sort of NPC interaction in space is coming, but I forget what it was. But it sounded pretty good, and I could see them adding more and more stuff. I'm just holding out because that game looks like something I'd like to play with more people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Base building. They're adding base building so you can build your own star base.
Yeah, but you'll never be able to get back there.
No, you could go back. Backtracking's easy because you have a star map, and every time you find a planet, that goes onto your star map, so you can just turn and warp drive back to.
There? Oh, okay.
Yeah, warp drive back to.
Well, you'd have to have the right, because you could run out of resources in, like, say, your warp drive or hyperdrive blue. You'd have to take a long time unless you get the resources to rebuild your warp drive.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have the. But I would expect that as you get farther in the game, resources that allow you to fly back and stuff or fly all over the place are probably not as hard to get. Yeah. Like when it comes to traveling versus like upgrades, it probably balances out so that traveling becomes easier to do and upgrades become harder to do.
Yeah.
So, September 7th is the big announcement for PlayStation
That's
Neo.
the rumor.
Yeah.
Don't jump on hardcore. That's the rumor.
Yeah.
The guy who's reporting it has been the guy who reported it has been wrong before. The guy who reported it has been so wrong before that he made himself look like a fool on the internet and then flipped out on people for it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well,
but
what's everybody else's expectations for the PlayStation 4? I really have no expectations because I don't plan on getting one anyway. But
I'm getting rid of my Crapbox One original version to help pay for it.
Ah.
And I'll probably trade in my PlayStation 4 right now so I can get combine them so I can drop the price off and get it for like $100.
I have absolutely no reason to get either of them because I don't have a 4K TV.
Well, the reason why I'm getting
VR headset, so
that's why I'm getting it. I figure it will help with the VR headset.
Yeah.
And I also have to get a new TV next year because this one's doing the burn-in problem. So I figure at that point I'll try to find a reasonable 4K one.
The main
reason is for the VR.
The only thing that might get me to buy one of these is Final Fantasy 15.
Well, the spec rumors of it being 5.2 teraflops are being rumored to be wrong.
Uh-huh.
And his article discusses that they are looking into upgrading the tech for it to be more in line with Scorpio, which to me doesn't matter because that thing's going to bomb because of the price anyway.
Scorpio, isn't it $299? Oh, Scorpio's not even out yet.
Yeah, it's not out yet.
The thing with the Scorpio is that you guys are tech heads. If you read the specs that they're claiming, that thing's like $800-900.
Like yeah, but that's what they say with every console that comes out. They take a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about them taking a loss. There's no way a system that costs $800 to $900 sells. When a PS3, that's a sequel to the biggest console in history, couldn't sell at $600. And now a new version of the console that's selling horribly is going to sell at $800 to $900.
Yeah.
No. And I don't know. Maybe I'm off on the price. I don't know as much as you guys do. But it's supposed to be at least 6 teraflops, and it's supposed to have they're claiming at least 16 gigs of RAM. And how you can? There's no way you could put that in to a console for $400.
It might be $499, $550.
Yeah, it depends. It really
even
depends.
That's hard.
I paid $499 for mine.
Yeah, it really depends on like who's manufacturing the board, how it's integrated. All these things have to take place, and how to really like, are they making a special version of the card just for the console? There's all these things that really have to come into the whole argument.
And it seems whenever they make, like I know the Scorpio is different, but whenever they make the newer console, it's not as expensive. Like the Xbox S that just came out, it's 4K capable, yada yada yada. It doesn't have the power that this Scorpio has, but by the time they get there, they might have a cheaper way of producing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's being said right now is that the hardware that they're claiming is in it on a computer right now would run you into $1,200 to $1,400 right now on a computer.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So you're looking at a year from now, and that's going to drop down to a reasonable price. And you have to take into account that the reason why the S is so cheap is because they are literally hemorrhaging sales, and they're doing anything they can. And right now, at this very moment, they're running bundles for that freaking thing. It just came out, and they're running like 4-game bundles for $350. Like the game the thing is technically dead on arrival because of how much they're putting into it at launch. They think it's not going to sell, and they're already throwing money into it.
Yeah, like all the things say, awesome console, but too late.
Yeah, it's an awesome console. But if, for example, if I release a new console and I put 5 games with it, wouldn't you look at it and go, "Wow, that's a great deal"? But why are they giving so much away with it? At least the smart thinker wonders why.
Yeah,
very true. We're gonna have to wait on the 7th. We will be. So on to actually building a gaming rig and it being at a very cheap price. The AMD RX 460 is going to let you do that at an extremely cheap price. Now this thing has very low specs for for a graphics card, but the fact is it'll do basic VR because it's 1200 1.2 gigs megahertz processor, and it has 4 gigs of DDR5. I think it's 4 CUDA cores.
Welcome to the stream, Mario lover.
So the fact is, like, this is going to be around $100, and you could build a LAN machine if you want to, and this thing will be basic VR capable. And if you're not going to do VR, you can do 1080p just as well. You're not going to do so much 4K though with this thing. And that's the one thing you're not going to be doing.
Can you go like quadruple Crossfire?
Yeah, it really wouldn't do much. I don't know if it has. I don't think it has Crossfire actually.
Probably not.
And then there's going to be a 2 gig model, 2 gig DDR5 model that's going to be even cheaper.
That's just crazy.
So this is, I think, in a sense, because if there's anything that's going to get more people into PC gaming, and AMD is doing it, getting people the option to build a gaming rig that could match your PlayStation 4, your Xbox One. I'm not talking about the Xbox S or the PlayStation Neo. That can match their specs at like $200 or less. So everybody has Facebook. I have Facebook. I think everybody else here has Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't have Facebook.
Tony Camper has Facebook, I'm sure.
Facebook.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Facebook is bypassing ad blockers, but offering a target opt-out.
Do you have to pay for it?
No.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah, we don't know of yet. So
Really?
I guess so they've wrote their
you can opt out of receiving any ads
on Facebook. Now how true this is, I don't know. I haven't really messed around yet with it too much. But the fact that they're writing this kind of scares me in a sense. The reason why is because they have found a way to write code in HTML5 to where most ad blockers can't detect it on Facebook right now.
I'd like to point out that that's now. A week after this gets done, they'll fix. It will go back.
Oh
to
yeah. No, I know. But I'm saying though, because I love my ad blockers on my.
Well, don't the
Hey Nate, have you ever looked at the
pay
amount of
for
stuff
it?
you've blocked?
The what?
Yeah,
Don't
they
the
do.
ads pay for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would they? Unless there's a zillion people complaining about it, but what does that? I can complain about commercials on TV all I want.
Yeah.
But that's how the industry works.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they allow an individual to opt out of ads? Everybody's going to opt out of ads, and then they won't be able to have ads. And where's the revenue coming from?
Here's the problem, though, Tony. When you're watching football on TV, you watch a 3-4 minute break, and you're done. And what it doesn't do is intrude on your show. The problem with ads nowadays is you could load up a website, and say you're watching like South Park on a website that legally hosts it, and right in the middle of watching this episode, something blares out of your TV because some radio freaking ad's playing that you can't find or close. That's why people use the ad blocker, not because they hate the ads, but because they've become so intrusive that they'll literally crash your system. There are some websites that will open like 1 million in once, like as soon as you get on the stupid thing, and your system will slow to a crawl because there's a ton of ads just opening up left and right.
I think
It's
you've
just
read that.
become
Sometimes
overboard
you've
and
seen pop-ups
intrusive.
Oh, it makes me crazy.
Yeah.
It's literally
It
nonstop.
makes it so I don't even want to be on the site anymore. I don't
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even be there
Exactly.
anymore.
So anyway, Firefox no more 404 feature shows old version of dead pages. So everybody know what a 404 I'm sure is here, right?
When you go to a website and something's screwed up and it says 404 error or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
usually
old. I haven't seen that in a long time.
it usually means that the website's down, the person
Yeah.
the website provider or whoever owns it didn't pay their bill or something happened.
Yeah.
So now instead of that little goofy thing, they're actually going to show like an older version of the site. You're not going to be able to do anything on it. It'll just show like an older version of the site. And it's just something, so you just don't, I don't know. They just want to make it a little more pretty, I think. So What do you guys think? Think 404 page need to be prettier?
So what? It's gonna show a little baby.
He's wearing a tie right there.
Hold
Collar
up.
trim, a tie.
It's gonna be
Alright,
neat. That's
We
cool.
covered this a little bit ago about Safari finally getting rid of Flash. Now this is going to be an even bigger one because Google was still supporting Flash. It still is supporting Flash, but it was an integrated version within their own browser, so that way it couldn't get into the rest of your system. Because Flash is extremely it's like Swiss cheese.
And it also runs like shit from time to time.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Google, what do you call it, is finally given a timeline. They are going to get rid of, I think it's by the end of 2017, they're going to kill Flash completely from their browser. Which is going to be, this is going to be the big nail in the coffin that's going to force so many web providers to finally switch their code over to HTML5, which is a long needed process that should have happened already. But it's finally, someone's going to finally...
So that hopefully that'll be in place before this is gone, because this is how people watch things, right?
Well, most
No,
most
right, we're all on-
websites have converted, like
Yeah.
big
Okay.
websites.
All the
Most-
websites we're on right now are all running on HTML5.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm on Yahoo, it's HTML5.
It should be. I think
Yeah.
I think Yahoo's converted
And
it.
AOL is HTML5.
I don't know. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Probably because they're bigger than you think.
Yeah, but
You
like
know,
the ones,
they're not AOL the app anymore, but they own so many websites.
but the big ones that are
So-
going to have to convert that really a lot of people know are a lot of these sites that their kids go on that have games called Flash games.
Mhm.
And they make these games, and a lot of times exploiters use these games as ways to get in people's systems. They can't do that with HTML5. And so when this finally comes down, a lot of these things are going to get a rude awakening when their kids are going on their websites and go, hey, I can't get on this website, and there's no way they're going to be able to get on there at all.
Oh yeah,
And they're going to have to convert their code.
because a long time ago the Flash games were easier to make,
Yeah.
and that's why kids like to go to them because they can play all these quick little kiddie games and stuff. And that like Newgrounds was a huge Flash game website.
Mm-hmm.
I'd play that all the time. It was fun, but now, for a while, people were like, "Oh, I could get your phone doesn't have Flash. Haha, I got Flash on my phone. I can play Flash games." I'm like, "Yeah, you try and play a Flash game on your cell phone.
Yeah.
with a 3-inch screen.
Yeah, it ain't going to work.
Yeah, they were always
Flash
like, laughing
is,
at us.
oh man. I'm so glad Flash is going away.
Flash.
Ugh, I can't even talk. I don't even like it that much. It's screwing me up. Gonna have a stroke.
Go away, Flash.
Saying
I'm having
Flash.
hot Flash.
Sorry if I'm not talking. I'm just
So
looking up some stuff.
anyway, GoPro is making a 360 camera
Rig.
rig. Camera. What do you call it? It's going to be quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
But it's going to have some really high quality, be able to allow pretty much amateur movie makers, photographers, stuff like that to be able to make 3D movies.
What's the problem with GoPro? What are the problems GoPro has?
Well, it's not a problem. What it is,
It
it's
says it doesn't solve the real problem.
Well, the
Well,
name
no,
is kinda
right now the
stupid.
revenue is dropping. I think
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
dropped 20% in the last
Wow.
year. And they
it's not
believe
it's not the cameras themselves.
their cameras are some of the best out there
Yeah.
for motion capture.
So what's the problem?
They're expensive.
Yeah, it's
Is-
about
but it
$5,000
says
for that rig.
But that doesn't solve its real problems. Is that the problem, that it's too expensive for the market? I mean,
Well, they're hoping like
they're
they
outpricing themselves out of business?
Well,
hopefully
basically,
not.
with this 360 rig, you have to buy like 6 GoPros to put in it,
Yeah,
and then I'm guessing there's a dongle that connects them all together. Or something.
yeah. It runs you about $5,000.
Yeah. Well,
But
it's
it's
an
probably some of
emerging
the
market,
best.
though.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got people who want to make movies.
And
In
they can
VR,
record-
in
And
VR,
they're looking at movie revenue, hopefully.
yeah, in VR is becoming a
Well,
So
yeah,
what
that's what you
business
use for
can start
VR right there.
$5,000. Basically, it's a business investment.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the GoPro, yeah, but now they can't. They're coming out with the Samsung is coming out with a 360 camera, and it's
Yeah.
only $400.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure
I
what
love
the
free
resolution
market
on that
economies,
is.
Well,
man.
what's
Yeah.
weird about
You know,
that
they
about the
make
Samsung camera though,
competition.
it's weird. It does 360, but it doesn't exactly capture so much too far below. You'll see a black spot.
Yeah,
You'll see a
yeah.
black spot in the top. This camera
We'll
covers
catch top and bottom.
everything.
So it must have like a connection on like the side of it where
Yeah.
the camera isn't, because it can't just be
Yeah.
under the camera. There must be like a tripod
They're
connection on
hoping
the
that
corner
they've got a
there.
solid
Or something,
patent.
yeah. So, I mean, that's what the thing that's amazing about this. So,
You know what? I'm gonna make a Black Magic 3D camera.
you wait. Eventually, I bet somebody at Blackmagic's working on
Um,
their own
They
360
probably
version.
make one already.
Probably.
Black Magic is like they make like $3,000 cameras that are like a $3,000 webcam, but they don't come with any parts. It's just the camera. You have to buy the lens.
So you still gotta buy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're good. Stupid expensive.
But they're cool.
So Grimm's gonna want to talk about this because he plans on buying this game. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided will let you aim with your eyes, but I don't think Grimm has a PC.
I don't have any eyes.
Well, that's going to be a problem. I don't know how you're going to aim then.
Dude, derp eyes.
So how's VR if you're blind? Huh?
How's that supposed to work?
You wouldn't
the
be playing
camera.
VR if you're blind, but
Dude, I'm in my own
Concerned with all
personal
this
VR.
optical stuff messing with you. Will you have a light scanning your eye to?
No. The camera will track you.
yeah, the
Unless that
camera's
ends
good.
up on PlayStation VR, I don't care because I don't have a strong enough computer to run Oculus or anything. But if you want to talk about Mankind Divided, I will tell you it's God's gift to me because I love Blade Runner.
Did you
and
see-
Deus Ex game's a Blade Runner for me.
Did you watch? There was last week on Twitch. It was like a good 4 hours long. Called it was Deus. It was like the premiere like talking about Deus Ex in the release. And they had like all these futurists on there. They had all these inventors on there. They had a whole bunch of people. They had the guy who invented HDR. If anybody knows what HDR is?
Yeah.
They had the guy in there invent it. The guy had a radio scanner strapped to his arm that scanned like radio waves around him and shit. He had like this weird thing on his head that he could see because he was half blind. He made this device that hooked to his eyeball so he could actually see properly.
Oh,
that he
jeez.
made. It was crazy. I was like, wow.
I did not see that, but
Oh, it
in
was
my
cool.
defense, I've been trying to go dark. The only thing I watched was the 20-minute quick look or preview thing that they did on Giant Bomb.
Well, this was
No, it's
mostly
like a
about.
thing they did on Giant Bomb.
Well, the big part of this was about like human augmented reality and AI and like how we are going to face this problem once we eventually get to this point where Deus Ex is in the future. That's what the
Also, I would like to say to anybody who's watching who plans on buying that game, do not listen to reviewers about this game.
Oh no, it's gonna
Okay.
be. It's so far, it's gonna be a great game. I've
And
seen
the
footage. I've
reason
seen-
why you don't listen to reviewers about this game is because twice now, the social justice crowd has flipped out about this game for no reason, and there's a good chance that these reviews are going to be crapping on the game because of that. The first time was when the director said we wanted to take. You guys know what apartheid was, right?
Yeah.
It's a racial thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
apartheid.
okay.
Black people here, white people there.
They
Apart.
wanted.
They
They
don't
said
want them to mix.
they referenced that and said that they wanted to tell a story of a world where the same thing was happening, but between people who have augmented themselves and people who haven't.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
And the social justice media flipped out, called the developers racist and stupid and ignorant, and just crapped on these people for like 6 months. All right, you go about a year past that to about a week ago, and they release all these images, and some of the images for the artwork has signs that say "Aug Lives Matter" because they're trying to portray a world in which.
Well, yeah.
That could have been a little more sensitive.
And that that
It
like
could
I
have
was,
been more
That could have been
sensitive,
more
yes,
sensitive.
the
Yeah, but
point
you know
that
what? If they weren't, and nobody, it's not drawing blood. Nobody's gonna die.
No,
But you're
what
gonna
they're
get some
trying-
real sensitive people to that.
What
And
they're
that's gonna
trying to
affect some
do
folks.
is they're trying to draw parallels
Right.
to try and tell a story about how
Sure.
people do this. It doesn't matter race or whatever. People will always pick something that they
Right.
dislike and attack it. And that's what this whole point of this was. And again, the entire media, like half the big gaming websites and hundreds of freaking social justice tools on Twitter started crapping on these people, saying that they shouldn't release the game, they should all be fired. Some of them were being told they should die. So
Golly.
mark my words, when this game comes out at the end of the month, there are going to be a significant amount of reviewers who are not going to pay attention to the story they're trying to portray. And the fact that they're trying to get the point across that hate is wrong no matter what,
Yeah. It's funny.
and they're
movies-
just going
movies
to
can do
shit
that.
on this game.
yeah.
Isn't it
Well,
interesting how movies can do that, right? Movies can show something, you know it's a fable, but is a direct parallel to what's going on in our real lives to tell a story, because people are more prone to listen to a fable
Like,
Yeah,
law,
then
like
to
Law and
watch
Order.
That's what
They-
they want
they
too.
rank.
They say they want games to be more adult, and then they tackle an adult
Right.
subject like this, and they flip out on them because they weren't being nice to people about it.
Well, no, this is like what that I think the whole conference thing I was talking about. I think it's called the Human Experience. I think it was like the Human X Experience or something like that. And I had a whole bunch of futurists on it for a reason. And all these futurists, the one common denominator that came up amongst a lot of them was everybody kept on asking, well, if you don't want to be part of like how social media has to feel everywhere, and you're on this page and you're on that page. And their own answer is, we're living in this society now where everything is live. If you don't want to be a part of it, you need to move up to the mountains and just unplug yourself completely, because it's the
Get
only
off the
way.
grid.
It's the only way right now. This is where we're evolving as a human race, and it's something we have to accept.
Plus, if you look at the other angle too, let's say hypothetically the great thing happens and all racism fades from the earth, and we all just accept each other, right? What if someday cybernetics do come along? Do you honestly think people aren't going to react the same way? Because that's what it is. Like,
Yeah.
racism is in part a jealousy. Like the racist white people see these black athletes and they get mad because these black athletes are actually better at it than they are, and it offends them. It makes them mad. And then you take away the color, and then you add in these augmented people, and then at one point, someone with a cybernetic arm, all of a sudden, hundreds of people, thousands of people are getting these things because, you know, anybody who loses an arm, like, say there's a chunk of society who has these things, and all of a sudden they're being looked at poorly, like, because they have something that works better than what you have.
Yeah.
Or you're getting older, or you're injured, and you know
Yeah.
you may
And
not
then
have to lose an arm, but you're gonna have this arm assist
yeah, and
machinery.
then
Oh,
eventually
sure.
you're different, and because you're different, people pick on you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it comes down to a failure
Hey, Muggs.
of society. It comes down to the fact that people don't want to accept their own failure. They usually like to place blame on other things. If they place blame on someone else that they didn't perform as well as they should have, they don't feel as so bad for themselves that they actually need to try a little harder. And this is where this divide starts coming in.
Yep. Also, that guy went to the wrong shop for his eyes because they butchered him.
Yeah.
I'd like the full derp eye, please. Sir. Right this way, man. Like,
So-
big or small? Huge.
So,
Hey, Google, yeah.
So Telltale is rumored, well, obviously they're making the Evil Corp app, which is going to be funny. I'm going to definitely download it, just check it out for the hell of it. But they're also rumored to also be making a Mr. Robot game. And who else knows what Telltale games make?
Point and
I
click
know what they.
adventures.
I
Yes.
know what they make, but I still don't believe this rumor.
So
It's gonna be canceled, Nate.
No, I don't believe this rumor because even if it wasn't, let's say it's not like its ratings aren't bombing, which they are. You can laugh all you want. Look it up. You'll see.
No.
But even if that wasn't the case, you're talking about a game that would need a large, like, swath. How many viewers does this have? Even at its peak, it had like 3-4 million.
Well, no, the thing is, like I was saying last week, the big thing is the viewers that do watch this show are the type to not watch it live, so they're not being tracked as much.
so
And-
they're stealing it again. Why would you make a show for?
Well,
people
no,
who
not
wanna
even live,
steal it
because
instead of
if you
pay
look,
for it?
they're not even looking at like their main service that they're on is Amazon, and they're not tracking so much views from Amazon. And I was like, why are they not?
Because they haven't figured that out, right?
Yeah, they haven't figured out completely how to track them all, because some people block their IP or they use a VPN or whatever, so it can't be tracked that well. So, and this type of show is attracted to those kind of people.
Do DVRs
Not the,
catch that?
they do, but you have to have a service to be. You have to be running it through a service.
Okay, but what's the motivation of this company to make a game about a show that maybe has 4 million viewers versus making a game about a bigger show that has 10, 15 million viewers?
Well, I can tell you, like, distinctly, like, all the people that are on the Reddit are bugging out about this. They can't wait for this game now, if it actually is made. I was looking on
But
the
that
Mr.
wasn't
Robot
the answer to the
subreddit.
question. No.
There's a group. I'm saying there's a group of people out there that are like, oh my god, that's gonna be awesome. That are very huge fans of this, and who knows how big that what do you call it? Just the subreddit is. It's huge.
There's a group of people that want a new Care Bears movie.
I think with the idea of this game, though, like the way they can portray the story and stuff, because the show is so cryptic in its ways, it would make a good.
Oh,
point
make a
and click
really good
adventure.
game.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
expect it to make an excellent game. I'm
Yeah.
just asking from a business standpoint.
So we will get more into Mr. Robot next week after our episode because there's one airing tonight. So, anyway, so one thing that me and Bazinga both bought is these VR headsets. The
You didn't-
sign.
You didn't go for the cardboard ones, man. That's a shame.
So, anyway, these VR headsets, and they actually have, so you can do augmented
They're
reality.
really cheap. You know, they're
$20.
$20.
They come with a controller, which I don't have with me because I didn't bring a controller because the controller's crap.
Yeah. But we just got them to see what it's all about, and I've actually learned a lot of stuff with these. Like, they haven't figured out how to use positional tracking with a mobile device.
No, they haven't yet.
But they are trying. But even Oculus hasn't figured it out yet.
No.
So you know, it's pretty cool. You know, it is neat. I definitely recommend a higher resolution phone. I have a 1080p phone, and you got to remember it splits it in half. So I got like two half of that resolution per eye.
Yeah.
So it's kind of washed out and blurry a little bit. Now, if you had like a 2K phone, I'm sure it would look fantastic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you know, I played a few games on them. Most of them are you got to look at the item and stuff like that. It's okay. Watching TV or like movie clips and stuff is pretty cool, but it's like literally just like watching it in front of you on like a big screen TV.
There are some 3D movies out there, but they're very short so far. And then there's like one full one, the Hardcore Henry.
Now, is that a 3D movie?
Yeah,
it is.
360 movie. Yeah.
Oh, cool. But I did some research online, and I did see some things about that they're developing apps that you put on the phone where you can wirelessly transmit the computer to your phone.
Oh, like the Shield, NVIDIA Shield.
Well, no. You can use the headset as a VR headset for your computer.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So you can play VR games on Steam on this headset. But right now they're kind of iffy.
Okay.
You know, I'll look more into it.
We have an article for that.
Yeah. So this is the headset. You know, I got it at our local retail establishment. It was $20. You know, it's nothing. You know, nothing special. But but you need this to be able to see what the hype's all about. It has lenses inside that you can't see it from this camera, but you see the lenses.
Yeah. And
it's got little zoom in and zoom out levers on the top. And if there's an augmented reality type game, there's a little camera slot that opens up on the front. But I was reading online, and streaming PC desktop to phone for virtual reality with head tracking. What they're doing with the head tracking is you strap a gyroscopic mouse to the headset.
Oh my god.
So that's kind of strange, but it's a start.
Yeah.
It is a start. And then but there are some other apps that are figuring out how to use a gyroscope in the phone.
Okay.
So, you know, one step at a time.
And I have to say, anybody who gets this, one of the best apps I found that worked really well is the app Within. It has a whole bunch of there's a concert on there you can watch in completely 360. There's a whole interview with an artist in New York where you get to walk around his studio and stuff. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff. They've made some of the coolest stuff, I think, is the app Within. But then there's an app called VR for YouTube. It'll just search pretty much VR videos on YouTube for you. There's a social media-esque kind of app that's out there that allows you to share stuff like 360 stuff. But it hasn't gone a whole lot really far. And the one thing that I found was really cheesy. There's a lot of VR roller coaster or VR universe, stuff like that. It's like looking at a game from the 1990s as you're in VR.
That's why I'm saying you need a higher resolution phone.
Well, no, just the graphics in general are just bad.
Oh, you're watching graphic ones.
Yeah.
I watched a real life VR 3D roller coaster. It looks pretty cool, but it loses its immersion because the resolution's horrible. Because the resolution's horrible, so it doesn't you're not there.
Yeah, the thing I'm talking about is the whole 3D actually esque ones where I'm wondering what these guys are programming in because it's some pretty horrible graphics.
Yeah,
I've seen way better games on Android that triple better.
It's like they went back in time to when we first started talking about
VR, yeah,
with the stick figures and oh my god, it's so realistic, you know.
Yeah, it was bad.
No, but it is pretty cool. I did learn that it really, besides comfort and your eyes, you know, how the zoom and stuff works with the different type of headsets, there's no real. You're not going to find a real difference between any headset.
No.
You might find it with the Oculus mobile one, but if you go with any other type of headset, they're all going to do the same thing, and you're going to get the same results.
Yeah.
Because it's just a thing you put your phone in that's got binoculars in it. You know.
Yeah.
So, but it's pretty cool. You know.
And
Eventually, because they're so much cheaper, there's gonna be a small market for it. But right now, it's really gimmicky.
And what would be really cool would be something I found just this morning, actually, pretty much. Thing I didn't know about, the Neon Arcade. And you guys know that we do our Retro Arcade on Saturdays a lot of times. We use the Hyperspin front end, where it has a whole bunch of like arcade games. And I found this video of this guy I follow. Anybody who actually wants to know about any of the front ends and how to get these front ends running, definitely go over to this guy's YouTube or give him a subscribe. He is amazing at what he does. His name's Simple Austin. And I found he did a whole video on how to do this, and we're going to jump ahead into his video.
Desktop. I'm playing with my keyboard.
And you can see he walks around, like this is like him walking around in this, and it's like an arcade. And he shows in this video how to program and get things up and running with, what do you call it, with your own game, stuff like that. And it'd just be really cool. Say if you're in a virtual reality, like interface, and you're walking around there with your friends, you're like, hey, let's go to this game and play it. And it's like being at an arcade.
Yeah. For instance, right now he's just using a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
But and all these arcade games are fake. They're fake right now because
Yeah.
he didn't upload any games to it,
No.
except for like Ninja Gaiden or
Yeah, I
something
think like
that.
Frogger back there works and stuff too, but like there's not a lot.
Yeah, most of them are just fake covers. Like right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Shinobi.
Yeah.
But he didn't finish, setting up the way it looks on the arcade console because it's all stretched and weird looking. But it is pretty cool, and I guess there is a multiplayer mode where other people can walk around in there too. I'm not sure how if you can play on the same arcade game with each other or anything.
I don't know, but that's gonna be it's
pretty cool. It is pretty cool, especially if you had like VR headsets.
Hey,
guys,
man.
how you doing? It's definitely.
I'm just wondering if I can walk up and kick Nate's ass and take his quarters.
The real life
cool
simulator of being a kid at an arcade shop.
The future of reliving the arcade moments. What did I want to go to? So,
that is cool.
so
This is what
the
I've been
VR
waiting for.
gun uses haptic feedback to simulate real gunfire. Now, the thing with this is it's pretty neat, but I'm wondering how much it actually simulates real gunfire. Anybody who's ever fired a real gun,
It's got to have a big spring in there to make it get that kind of feedback, yeah.
like I remember firing when I was a young kid, firing a 30-06.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I thought my shoulder was broken.
got a little punch.
I was like, oh my God, what just happened to me?
My biggest thing is, with the whole VR thing, how are you moving when you're holding this gun?
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. Like, you got that must be a game that's on rails.
It has to be.
Unless he's in one of those treadmill things.
Oh yeah, those things are really cool. They're expensive, but it's really freaking cool.
But believe it or not, I think they're like $1,000, which to us is expensive, but the idea is really, that's not much.
Oh yeah,
at
that's
all.
the perfect idea.
Yeah, for $1,000, that's really not that expensive for what it is. I think it'd be a lot
It'd
more
be
than
worth
that.
it to like say if there was a bunch of developers actually developing for that. It might be worth it to actually get it.
Yeah. If there was a bigger market for it right now.
Yeah. So Grim, would you want a haptic sensor on your rifle?
Well, he doesn't want VR right now for the PC.
No, I can VR on PC, but dude, no. I don't want an on-rail. Like, this is the same problem that they
Oh yeah,
have
on rail shooter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
nobody does.
And
No.
that's cool, but on rails. If you're telling me that gun has a thumbstick in the front, like say it had two, so one handle had a thumbstick in the
analog
front
stick,
and one
yeah,
in the
yeah.
back, so that I could move just like a controller, then I'm all over that
Definitely.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Well,
but
it'd be another thing too.
you're asking me to play gimped. You're asking me to play all the games I love gimped.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
taking a controller out of it.
Well, no, and they're also asking you to walk away with like, oh my God, my arm's gonna fall off now.
Well, I don't know how powerful that was going to be, but
VR is a great idea, but
if they could make it like the PlayStation Move controls were with a gun, like I had a PlayStation Move gun, and you could use the analog sticks. But
Yeah, the same thing with the Wii controller.
but when you're walking, the where you move the gun is where you turn. You know, you go,
Yeah.
okay, I'm walking forward,
And that's how the Wii was too.
which
And
was
see,
really
until
cool.
you have full 100% free motion and immersion with VR,
It's
you
just not gonna be
can't
the
play.
same.
You're not going to be able to play all the games you want.
Yeah,
And even then, you can't do the stuff that in the real world. You're gonna have to hop and dive and all that. Like
yeah.
it has to be some sort of like holodeck where you basically sit still and it messes with your mind, or else the best thing to do is have a controller.
yeah.
Yeah, or put you like when you put them on, it put you in like, in the show. I don't know if anybody watched it. It was a great show. Got canceled. Caprica. The headsets in that, they were pretty much like glasses, and when you put them on, it had little nodes that like hooked into the side of your temples, and it put you pretty much in a comic state.
Yeah,
But
that sounds
personally,
familiar.
I am more.
I'm not. I
I'm
don't
more
want to go into
down with
coma.
the Demolition Man sex hat
But...
and the 3 seashells.
Yeah.
Nate, that Suicide Squad thing, I don't want to
that's a
do that
good
this
idea.
week. There's something else I want to talk about
All
All right.
other than Suicide Squad.
All right.
So talk about it.
Oh, we're gonna do it now. All right. For those of you who are Game of Thrones fans and George R.R. Martin fans, I am about to blow your mind
The
with
Ace
the best
series.
news you could possibly ever get. Wild Card.
Aces. Wild card. That's it.
Good job, Nate. Good. Okay, so Wild Cards is a alternate universe superhero show, but not typical superhero show because it's set in a world as if right after World War II, in which most of the planet has been killed by an alien virus, and the characters in it kind of look almost steampunk mixed with World War II kind of like graphic to them, and it's based off a comic book.
Yeah.
And this series is, it doesn't say who it's being picked up by, but it's been greenlit to go on TV. The rumor is Amazon. It might be Netflix, but it's a high budget show that's coming.
Yeah.
And I haven't read any of it because I just found out about it. But
Oh, it's been
you
around
can
for a
check
long
out
time.
Some of the,
It was actually. I'm pretty sure he started this before Game of Thrones.
well, for what I'm reading about it is even more insane. Apparently, this comes from and Wildcard series is a mosaic knowledge developed out of an ongoing superhero role-playing campaign run by George R.R. Martin and spans more than 20 novels. Contributed authors are people he plays with, including, and it's a bunch of scientists that help make. So basically, it's people he played a superhero role-playing game, and they built a world that he then wrote novels about.
Yeah.
And the basic plot point, again, the wildcard virus is an artificial virus that kills most of humanity. Other than that, I don't know too many details because I haven't read all the stuff. It covers 4 decades from 1946 to early 1986, so it's got a lot of nostalgia feel to it. I'm not sure what they're going to cover, but each novel has different characters. So each decade, they change up on characters, and there are threads and connections between all of them. I don't know too much about it, but it just looks cool as hell to me. Like, that's my style. If any of you have ever played Crimson Skies on Xbox One, it's just my style of like art.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm real pumped about the show.
Yeah, and anybody actually, as far as we're getting into media, since we're covering VR this week, a book, I don't have it in my bag. I had it in my last week. But, oh well, that's right. We don't have it up on the thing, but a book that I actually picked up. It's a really strange story how I picked it up too, over at the bookstore. A book called Deep Freak. And yes, it sounds like a very dirty name, but hey, it's a book title. Anyway, it's basically a story about a future where virtual reality is very prevalent, even in the school system. They've eliminated the school systems for the most part, and kids go to school in a VR environment from their home. But there's also like everything's like there's so many things that go on in VR. Like hackers are prevalent in VR. They do all these things in VR while the rest of society is kind of breaking down, falling apart, and here and there. But it's a very original way of writing a book. A lot of the file names and names throughout the story are written like file names in a program, which is it's kind of weird when you first start reading it, and then you start really wait. So it has a very distinct style of writing, which has really caught my eye. But the strangest thing about it, though, is how I picked up this book. Found this book at the local bookstore and picked it up, and then I was like, wow, there's no price in this thing anywhere. That's kind of weird. And the story seemed really intriguing. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just go to the counter and see how much It is. And then I looked on like the very back page, and I noticed the very last page said proof. I went, okay, that's the sign that this is a proofread edition. This was like supposed to be sent out to get approved for publication, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, that's kind of strange. So I still went up to the counter. I was like, okay. And the girl tried to scan it, tried to do everything. She couldn't find the price. She's like, that's really weird. She's like, I can't figure out the price. And then she's like, I thought this thing was in the dungeon. This is what they call their back room. They call it the dungeon. Anyway, they finally said, oh, well, I think this was like, she's like, oh, I think this publisher, it must be like a local publisher, a local artist, something like that left it here. And they're like, well, we'll price it anyway. And they priced it for me like $12. I bought it. And then I did some research, and it was weird because I found out also that it actually was someone local that lives here, and it's actually two people. I think, I'm not sure if they're husband and wife, who knows what they are, but this two people, the name of the author, it's like Mars DuPont, and it's actually the first name of like, they're both, well, obviously they're both, pseudonyms, but they mixed both their pseudonyms into one name on this book, which is kind of neat. But so far the book is really interesting. It's a very like, anybody's a Neil Stevenson fan will love this book. It has a lot of like things. It reminds you so far a lot of Snow Crash. Anybody's who ever wrote, I covered Snow Crash briefly on this podcast, but anybody's ever read that, I think will really like this book so far. It's really interesting. And it depicts a distinct reality, which is really disturbing. We could end up that way. So we'll wrap up some of these topics pretty quick. 60 gigabit, 60 terabyte, what do you call it, hard drive was been by Seagate, SSD, world's largest SSD.
Awesome, you can fit all your porn. Next.
That thing's huge. It's
What?
That's what she said.
So, House of Cards meets Civilization in an urban preview. Now, City Skylines is my favorite game. This is going to bring a whole nother element. You have to actually bring forth to like a board and like get approved, and all these political things that have to go on to get things done in the city and build them is going to have to take place in this game. So they're adding a whole other element to building games.
So it's like a sim game, but you have to ask permission
to do things just like in a real city council and everything.
Oh boy.
Like, hey, I want to build.
Man.
I want to give
That's
this.
not fun.
I want to give this council
so dry.
And
They'll be
you-
like, no, you can't make an add-on to that
I'll tell
house.
you what,
Denied.
you let me know when they add a PvP mode in City Skyline, like I said. Until then, and I don't care. I love Civ, and I'm not going to play it because of that. I want to steal your residence because my city's better than yours. And I want to pick up like criminals and drop them off in your town so that your town starts having like a crime element to help build my civilization up over yours. This would be such a good multiplayer game. Oh my god. Godzilla shows up at my city in one of those natural disasters and I just push him toward your city.
See, cities only get big monsters. Cities don't get the monsters that walk in your door.
It's like,
That's
dude,
the suburbs. The suburbs gets these monsters with the creatures and stuff, and guys with knives and all this graveyard stuff happens in
And
the suburbs.
actually, okay.
man.
I've brought this up 100 times. And I've never told you this, Tony, because I always talk about it with them. I've always had this great idea where you play a SimCity game where the goal is to get a bigger population than your opponent. And there's a pool of population, like 5 million people. And the goal is to make your city better than theirs so that all the people move towards your city until they're not making money and the first city to bankrupt loses.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea.
Well, there was a great game that could have been made way better, so much better, because these people failed, and I'm not sure if it was because they were just bad or it was because of EA. Not completely sure because I don't know them personally.
Just add EA to the end of fail, and
But-
you know exactly what it is.
The people that made SimCity 4, everybody knows who they are.
Not SimCity 4, just SimCity.
SimCity, yeah, it was just SimCity. It was called
The new one.
It was absolutely the worst city builder I probably have ever played.
Wow.
It had such potential. It was, what do you call it? Had a great idea. The DRM killed it in the beginning, which was a horrible idea.
It's really
They
been
made
disobedient.
SimCity Online, but they didn't put the mode I'm talking about in.
Well,
How
no,
could
they
you
started
not have
to.
that vision.
They started to, like, for
No,
instance,
you work together. You don't mess with each other. You're not allowed to mess with each
You
other.
couldn't even work together. You just said, okay, I have these utilities I can sell you.
yeah.
No, I want to straight up
Yeah.
just like Age of Empires. It's like, all right, me, you, and Bazinga are gonna load up this game. 3-player match. First person to get a million civilians, a million population wins. Build our cities.
Well, no, like you could do that, and like they had actually, because I was playing for a little while. I was playing the new SimCity, and I was on a server that was a bunch of people, And literally, we had one guy that was ruining like the rest of the city because his city was so corrupted and so polluted. We had people coming in there bringing pollution. Crime was going crazy in parts of my city because of this other guy. And then, what do you call it? We had this crazy influx of like all kinds of crazy things happening because this one guy built this like huge airport. So we had all these crazy tourists randomly showing up at our cities. It was a mayhem.
Yeah, but Nate, he was trolling you. That's the difference. The mode, they didn't put a mode in where you're competing against each other. In that game, you were supposed to all be working together like Care Bears. They didn't have a straight up PvP mode where you're just building.
No.
I'm sorry. I know you're laughing, but this mode is. I'm not being cocky about this. This would be huge.
Oh,
People
no,
who
it's
like
true.
the city
People
builders
would love it.
lose their shit to do this.
Send an email to City Skylines.
Yeah,
They
send-
had,
I
they
brought
had
it
a lot
up,
of
dude. I
add-ons.
brought it up on their forums,
Really?
and people backed
Yeah.
me up, and
Oh.
nothing. Nobody.
No,
It's like,
no, trust me, people want that.
you know.
And coming back soon, not tonight, but coming back soon, we will have Tony Camper's.
Oh,
Madness
not
on.
tonight. Oh,
Well, you have something.
I have something.
Okay, well, what do you
Okay,
have to
Tony
say?
Camper.
What is what? May I?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead.
What is it? Why do people, when they start talking about what's going on in their head, like when they say, you know, I was thinking in my mind. Why do people point to their heads when they say that? Where else does thinking happen?
Actually,
Why
And
do
why
they
do you have to say
actually-
thinking in my mind?
Why do they
Why,
say
that's,
one
that's,
of those I
why do you gotta say
thinking,
two
and
of
then-
them? Why can't you say something crossed my mind or I was thinking? Why do you say thinking in my mind?
Well,
What is that?
the
I
real
don't know what that is.
the real question is scientists are still
Oh
out
God,
on-
Nate's gonna try to make this smart.
Well,
I'm listening.
no,
I'm
scientists
listening.
are
I wanna know.
scientists are still out. They do not have a conclusive factual evidence yet that the mind actually exists in the brain.
Holy moly!
And
Hold
coming,
up, you didn't tell them what we're playing this weekend, dude. You gotta always fill in the last bit so people know.
What are we playing?
What,
I
oh, we-
believe on Friday we would be getting back to Diablo, right?
Oh yeah.
Because we're still
Yeah.
doing a
So yeah,
Diablo.
we'll
run.
do Diablo this Friday.
Yeah.
And
Sunday is most likely World of
World of Tanks, not World of Tanks. sorry. World of Warships.
Warships.
Yep.
I'm still playing my Dragon Quest stuff. Come check that out. I don't know what we're doing on Saturday. What are we playing on Saturday?
We're gonna be coming here for some retro games.
Yeah, but what are we gonna do Night Squad, or are we gonna go with some actual retro stuff?
We should try to figure out how to play some like Super Nintendo or something.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Also, if I can convince these guys, I'd like to try playing some World of Warplanes because I love
Mhm.
good old fighter
Okay.
jet stuff.
We can do that.
And
So, you can always find us, if you're watching this video, definitely hit that subscribe button right below you. We'd really appreciate it. And if you're if you're listening on the audio version of this, the audio cast, which can be found on pretty much any podcast service there is, the main one is Podbeam is hosting us, so they have a great service and they have a great support system. But anybody who's looking to do podcasting is definitely should get an account there. And obviously, you can catch us live on Twitch every week. This is where we broadcast live. I think we're also broadcasting live on YouTube this week. So, and we'll be broadcasting on more things. And we're looking to possibly broadcasting to Beam soon as well. So, catch us on any of these mediums. Definitely hit that subscribe button. Give us a comment. Let us know you like the video. Hit that like button. If you like these topics that we're talking about, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. We want to hear all about it.
And spread the word, man. Spread the word. Tell everyone. We need peoples.
And we are Get Tekt. This is the Get Tekt Show, and we will see you next week.